I'm Peter Jewett. I'm the founder of Accessible Web. We are a web accessibility software company located in Burlington, Vermont, with staff members all over the US and Canada and beyond. We maintain a web accessibility platform, Accessible Web Ramp, that helps our customers do WCAG the right way, as well as comply with the various accessibility laws that are on the books being implemented. So we're not an overlay company. We are here to help members of web teams, so websites, SaaS applications, everything in a browser really, and beyond, help you understand web accessibility issues, why they matter, how to resolve them, and like to think you have all the tools to do that work and keep records all in one place with Ramp. And then on top of that, we offer services and education. So here with me today, we've got Gianna. She's a member of our sales and customer support team. If you sign up for Ramp, Gianna is available in chat in Ramp to help you get onboarded, help you get up and running. And we've also got Mackenzie and Mark today from our accessibility services team. So these guys are doing WCAG audits for our customers, ongoing support, helping our customers to shift left, doing audits in Figma. So really soup to nuts. We've got a platform, and if you need help getting into the platform, getting up and running in an accelerated fashion, we've got services and educational resources to get your team up to speed. So today we are going to do a quick webinar, an informational webinar on forms. So Mark will be presenting. We're going to record that. Don't worry, we don't record any of our audience, but we're going to be recording that so that we can use it, on YouTube and on our website later on. And then following Mark's presentation, it should be 5 to 10 minutes. Following that, I'm going to do a quick run through, mini sales pitch, if you will, show you some different opportunities to get more comfortable with forms, with our educational resources, and with our software. And then we open it up for questions. So we'll close out with a Q&A session. Feel free to sign up for Ramp during the webinar. It should take like 5-10 minutes. We do 14-day free trials. Gianna's gonna, thank you, Gianna. There's the pricing page where you can sign up for a 14-day free trial, as well as a coupon code. So feel free to sign up for a quick trial. It should be super quick to get up and running. And then, we'll open up for questions, and happy to answer questions on today's subject of forms, but also happy to answer questions about, anything really that you want to talk about, Ramp, web accessibility, process in general. So Mark, you still with us? You ready to present? Hopefully we didn't lose you.
Yep, getting the share screen ready.
All right, cool. All right, we're gonna turn it over to Mark, and let's see it, Mark. Looking forward to it.
All right, should be good there.
You look good.
Perfect. All right, well, hello everyone, and thank you for joining today's webinar. So as Pete said, I'm Mark Jesus, a digital accessibility specialist here at AWeb, and today we'll be diving into the topic of forms. So just a quick overview of what a form is. It's an online user interface that allows users to input or select data. So forms are everywhere online, and they're used for a range of purposes like logging in, making purchases, submitting feedback, or performing a search. So ensuring these elements are accessible is critical because they impact everyone's ability to engage effectively with digital content regardless of their abilities. So throughout this session, we'll explore best practices and techniques to make these interactions as accessible and user-friendly as possible. So on the slide, I've listed out the most common types of UI components found in forms, and each of these components serves a unique purpose for capturing specific types of input from users. So text input fields allow users to type in general information like usernames and passwords. The text area is similar, but typically used for longer responses like comments or messages. Radio buttons and checkboxes are useful for selecting single or multiple options respectively. Drop-down menus or select elements offer a list of options in a compact format, making them ideal for categories or options that don't always need to be visible. Date time pickers help users select dates or times in a structured, often calendar-based format, and a file upload component allows users to add files like documents or images to a form submission. So we recommend using native HTML elements whenever possible because they are elements which are inherently accessible with most assistive tech, and they are semantically correct. So all UI components must have an accessible name. UI components that require user input, so form inputs, must have a visible label as well. Labels provide context, making form fields understandable for all users, including those who use assistive tech. So what do we mean by visible labels? Sometimes this can be confused with the accessible name. However, visible labels refer to the text or visual indicator associated with an interactive element. Visible labels in form fields or other UI components are important to help users identify what they are interacting with. An accessible name is the name assigned to the interactive element that can be read by assistive tech, such as screen readers. So when UI components have visible labels, that label text must be included in the accessible name. So on this slide, I have a screenshot of the Contact Us form from the accessible website and the helper extension beside it, highlighting the 3 inputs for first name, email, and organization for business, which are seen here. So using the tool can show us that the visible labels that are present, so first name, email, and organization or business, are also included in the accessible name. If, for example, the input in the accessible name for the first name field was only first, then this would be considered as a failure because it does not include the entirety of the visible label itself. So when form field includes both required or optional fields, it's essential to visually distinguish which fields need to be filled out successfully to submit the form. So one common method is to use an asterisk next to the visible label of required fields. However, it's important to note that the asterisk must have a sufficient contrast. So at least a 3:1 contrast ratio against the background or adjacent colors to ensure visibility for all users. For optional fields, one way to indicate this is by including the word optional beside the labels for those fields. This provides users with clear guidance on what information is necessary versus what's not required. And when certain elements are in a required state, that information must be included in the accessibility tree. So we can do this by using the native HTML required attribute, which is always recommended. But when this is not possible, so for custom widgets, we want to use the are you required attribute. And making these distinctions is important, not just for usability, but also for accessibility. It ensures that all users, regardless of ability, can understand and complete the form without confusion or error. So clear, concise instructions help everyone understand how to properly fill out a form. However, poorly designed forms can create significant barriers, particularly for users who rely on assistive tech like screen readers or voice input. But it's not enough just to have the instructions visually available on the page. If there are instructions present on a page for UI components, the instructions should be programmatically related to that component. So as an example, I have a screenshot of a username input field here with instructions listed below the username that say, must have at least 6 characters, 1 uppercase, 1 lowercase, and 1 special character. So this widget should be updated so that the instructions are presented, are programmatically associated using an ID attribute or an are you described by attribute to establish a relationship between the widget and the text that describes it. So when an input error occurs, it's important to immediately identify which field is responsible for the error and explain the issue to the user in clear, concise text. This way, users know exactly what went wrong and how to address it. So for example, if a user enters an invalid password, a clear message like invalid password, passwords must have at least 8 characters, should be displayed next to the password field. Additionally, suggestions for correcting the error should be provided. For instance, if a password is too short, a message could appear saying your password must be at least 6 characters long. These suggestions not only guide the user in fixing the issue, but also help prevent frustration by offering clear next steps. Continuing on the topic of errors and status messages, it's essential that these messages are programmatically determined. This means that the status messages should be designed in a way that they can be presented to users of assistive tech without requiring them to manually focus on the message. This helps ensure that users don't miss important information that could affect their ability to complete the form. However, it's important to note that these status messages are not always required to be automatically announced to assistive tech users, especially when these messages are delivered through a change of context. So for example, when navigating to a new page or a section of a site, this would be considered as a best practice. Some types of status messages are the following. So an assertive alert is a message which interrupts other announcements from assistive technologies. Typically, these should only be used when messages are important enough to interrupt other output from assistive tech, such as an indication of an error. A polite alert is a message which is presented by the screen reader after it has completed all queued announcements. Typically, these should be used when you want to present a message to assistive tech without a user having to navigate to that message, but when the message is not important enough to warrant interrupting that assistive tech announcement of other content. And page refresh messages inform users when a page has been refreshed, updated, or partially changed, helping users stay informed about dynamic content changes. So how can we help? We have tools to help identify and highlight failures present on your site with remediation recommendations to resolve these failures. However, it may be beneficial to explore consulting services and accessibility audits regarding form content, as an accessibility specialist can test for appropriate language or label usage, proper use and communication of design patterns for UI components, as well as if status messages are presented to users of assistive tech without receiving focus. Additionally, we provide VPATs to document if your digital products meet the accessibility requirements outlined in the WCAG standards.
Awesome. Thank you, Mark. Excellent job as always. All right, I'm gonna take over sharing real quick.
Sure. Let me stop share. There you go. All set.
Cool, thank you. All right, so I will try to keep this brief. So what I have here, I want to show a couple different areas where our tools can help with detecting errors on forms and helping you to remediate them. So this is Accessible Web Ramp. This is our platform. And here is a website that we use for training purposes that we've built internally, Shroot Farms. So if you're a fan of The Office, we are too. I'm going to go to our contact form here, contact page, because it's got a form on it. And this is our Accessible Web Helper Chrome extension. So when I scan this page, our Chrome extension, it connects to your RAMP account and unlocks some additional functionality like remediation instructions, the ability to push items from the Chrome extension into RAMP and from RAMP back to the Chrome extension. So both of the tools work in tandem. So this is a scan with the Axe Core rule set. This can catch like 35 to up to 50% of accessibility issues. And here you can see that this has identified a form without a label. So like what Mark was saying, all forms need to have labels. So using our tool, you can highlight this issue. You can see your message, and then it shows the details of the failure. And in addition, we have a library that we've built on top of the Axe Core rule set to describe how to fix these issues. So here, if you enable the remediation instructions, and these are the remediation instructions are available to RAMP subscribers, you can see exactly how to fix the issue. So this is kind of one level, just doing quick automated scans, but automated scans can't fully cover all WCAG success criteria. So the next place I would point to is this is our manual WCAG audit grid. And what this lists, we've got it configured right now for WCAG 2.2 AA. So for each one of these success criteria, we've got some tests for different manual tests for each success criteria. So I'm going to click, I've kind of pre-populated this. So what you would do is make a representative sample of your pages and add a column for each page. I'm going to click on the contact page, and if I was to perform some tests for 1.1.1, opens up the page, it opens up our Chrome extension with the manual tests, and you can see here that we've got a CAPTCHA test. So for this specific test, it says analyze the page to identify any CAPTCHAs. If a CAPTCHA is present, verify that there are alternative methods provided for users without vision and users without hearing. That is not the case here. This is just an image. So what I would do here is I would create a task for this specific one. And again, in the spirit of always helping you not just find problems, but know how to fix them, if I create a remediation task here, you can see that there's also a suggested remediation recommendation. So I'm gonna go ahead and create this task. And this will show up later on if I was to complete the manual audit. A couple other ones that are pretty good for forms that are very relevant to forms. I think Mark brought this up. Labels or instructions. This was on one of his slides. So I'm going to perform 2 tests here on this contact page. So again, it opens up the page that you click on in the grid, and then it opens up our Chrome extension with the manual audit tests. This particular one has an automated test, and then here's the manual test. So for this one, we are going to activate the element highlighter to highlight UI components that do not require user input. I won't read through all this, but here's the exact way to do this test. And then down below, you can see we have a helper. So this is going to highlight UI components not requiring user input. And then I'm also going to highlight UI components requiring user input. And here you can say we can highlight these and we can see the different inputs so that we can complete this accessibility test. So anyway, we've got this manual audit tool that will let you comprehensively go through page by page on your website and check for every WCAG success criteria and get remediation recommendations when you find failures. So definitely check this out if you're just getting into manual auditing. We've built this in such a way that we believe anyone can learn to manually audit with our tool. You have everything you need to find the issues, understand why they're failures, and then create remediation tasks that you or a different member of your team can fix. And then the final piece of my sales pitch here is we have Accessible Web Academy that comes with our Ramp Pro Plus plans, but you can also buy courses a la carte. So with this, it's academy.accessibleweb.com. It also links from our navigation on our website. We've got various different courses here, some different bundles for different personas and different themes. But what we've got, if you're specifically interested in learning more about forms, we have a really affordable $20 course here that gets more into visible and programmatic label, input field specific accessibility, and error and status message accessibility. So you can do this at your own pace. It's 25 minutes, so it won't take you that long. But if you're interested in learning more and building on the knowledge from what Mark presented today, feel free to head over to Accessible Web Academy. All right, enough pitching. Let's open this up for questions.
Thank you, Peter, and thank you, Mark.